Very good. Before we get started for the more important parts of our meeting, let's please pledge to the allegiance of the flag.
Who's going to lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, one nation, indivisible, liberty.
Thank you all. Is that working yet?
Just talk loud.
I will. Okay. So, well, that's interesting. Well, happy spring. Didn't it feel like it this morning at 37 degrees? And for those of you who'll be around on Friday, I think it's supposed to be 80, right? So welcome to spring in St. Louis. We appreciate it. Again, thank you for your patience, at least as we get this started. We hope that each of you who celebrated a holiday over the weekend celebrated it joyously. And it was with everything that you hoped it would be. And we have much to celebrate today. So we're going to start our meeting off with a lot of celebration, including the life of our former officers that we truly want to celebrate for all that he did. So, Chief, we will turn it over to you for the special presentations and to get us started on the celebrations. Welcome. You all.
Welcome. My mayor. That's my mayor.
We're so grateful for the partnership. I don't know whether you heard or not, but Mr. Banks was very excited to say, that's my mayor.
That's right.
Well, thank you all for your partnership. We success in that. So thank you.
That's when you think there's no more water left. On behalf of the Valentine and Fairchild families, your gift, members of my nephew. This is for 7 years I served as the armorer for the city of St. Louis. This is just another one of the things that bonded my nephew and I together. We're not a big gun family, but I liked it, so he liked it. none of us had ever touched firearms until, for me, joining the police department, and for him, military. So this is just another one of the bonds held us together. And both the Valentine Fairchild family, I accept your gift, memory of my nephew. So, thank you, board. And congratulations to all the promotees today. Chief, thank you. Charlie. All right, thank you.
Next on the agenda, we have two presentations to make. Detective Crystal Ruman, come forward, please. And Lieutenant Longworth.
Chairman, members of the board, Chief Gregory. Crystal Rubin, one of our homicide detectives. Fifth. Look into that. Very well deserving of this award. Over a year, she's amazing. Grateful for her and thank you, Crystal.
I don't, just tell.
Becker, Next, we have Detective Aaron O'Brien with a presentation by Captain Tim Cunningham.
Chairman, board members, Chief Gregory. Charlie says I got to speak in the mic for clarity, so here I am. You're welcome. Officer Aaron O'Brien, now Detective Aaron O'Brien, a very well-deserved honor for her. I'm honored to present her this award. On Christmas Day 2020, we had an unfortunate tragedy in North County Precinct, wherein the officers got a call to for a homicide, and it was a pregnant mother and her 2-year-old daughter were killed. Officer O'Brien was there along with the other officers from B platoon. There was a 6-year-old and a 7-year-old that were not harmed. A distraught father is the one that committed these heinous acts. He later took his life. Detective O'Brien, sorry about that, took it upon herself, along with some other members of her platoon, to do something to try to assist the family in any way they could. The children were now without a father or a mother. So the grandparents were taking care of the two surviving children. They raised money. They were able to provide a Thanksgiving dinner in 2021, and also gave the kids a great Christmas the following year. And hopefully nothing's going to nothing will replace what they had before, but the humanity and the act of kindness that Detective O'Brien initiated is very well deserving this award. So congratulations.
She's excellent. Rising star.
Next on the agenda, I have some promotions to make. I was told by the board that I made so many promotions this time that I can't make any more for the rest of the year. So those of you that had hopes, forget it, all right? First of all, I'd like Sergeant Robert Dean to come forward. Robert, kind of family here? Yes, sir.
He did.
That is so cool.
You're gonna go back to that. I want to tell the audience how special he was. He came into my life. I'm not his biological father, but I'm his father. He came into my life 30-something years ago. He's a funny guy, and I'm pretty sure you guys know that. But he got it from me. But anyway, he came into my house at the age of 14. And the first thing he told me, I had never seen this child in my life. So when he came into my house, he said, I'm the head of the household. And I told him, not anymore. You go out and be a teenager. I got this. So he did. And, you know, teenagers do things here and there. And he got through that. But he did tell me that he loved dogs and stuff like that. Sometimes people get the personality of their dogs, and his dogs did get the personality of him. Didn't look like him, thank God for that. But off duty, these dogs were just as gentle. But when they came on duty, they were just like him. They really went at it as far as doing their job. So I appreciated that he gave me all these beautiful grandchildren and grandsons and everything in life. And his mother had got all these other beautiful children. So God bless you guys for letting me allow to speak for my son. Thank you.
Next, we have Sergeant Derek Fort.
City of Jennings. Another problem also was just
Sergeant Goran Kotick.
No space.
Sergeant John Krebs.
from patrol going back home.
Look out for me in a second now.
There's a reason I'm looking at him too. He knows what it is, okay? Sergeant Columbus Love. Rodriguez is tough with these microphones. I tell you. So they're not hearing me?
So our virtual
Can't hear me. Okay. Might be a good thing. Next, Sergeant Dawn Newman.
Seventh precinct.
And she's going to the 7th precinct. Well, congratulations. You got family here?
Yes, I do. My daughter, Melissa. Cozy. John O'Neill.
Sergeant Monica Wesson.
The fourth precinct.
Going where? To the 3rd precinct. Got family here? Friends?
Back wall. My sister, my mom, my.
With both of you wearing stripes, is there? He makes more money. We'll leave him as boss.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Lieutenant Bradley Bland. Bradley's being promoted to lieutenant and is coming from the police academy. Is that correct? Where are you going to be assigned? City of Wildwood. Congratulations, man. You got family and friends here?
coworkers.
Okay. Lieutenant Jonathan Cunningham. Jonathan's being promoted from BPS, and you're going where? North County Precinct. Family, friends here? I used to be built like Sergeant John Edgecombe. I'm sorry, Lieutenant John Edgecombe. You're being promoted from DCI, and you're going where? First Precinct. Lucky you. All right. Family, friends here?
Got it.
Come on, stand up, guys.
And then, so I can get more
Trying to recruit Dean family and Fred family.
Thank you all for being here. And next we have Lieutenant Shanna Ostendorf. You're going where? Valley Park Detail. Congratulations. You got family, friends here?
The officers I got to supervise and had the pleasure to.
And last but not least, Captain James Morgan. Captain Morgan being promoted from SRU, and James, you are taking over Bureau of Security Services. Obviously, you have family here. We've heard them already.
My second mom back there, my two sisters, my nephew, and my niece.
Well, thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. I want to congratulate all of you all for your promotions. Okay, you guys are the future leaders of this department. There's a lot of work out there for you to do, and I know you're looking forward to getting busy with it. So again, congratulations to all of you. Commissioner, that's all I have as far as special presentations.
We're going to ask all of you to stand up again. This is quite the impressive crew, right? You talk about our future, right here it is. Lord, thanks you for your additional responsibilities, for your additional contribution. Friends and coworkers, thank you for the support that helped them get here and what they're going to need going forward. So thank you all very, very much.
I will let you know that we're getting ready to get to some business of the department. If you do not wish to stay around for the business, please feel free to leave.
Now the room's gonna be good. It's about to be just us.
Lieutenant?
I think it's going to be, yeah, I think that's next.
Hey, Ms. Love, how are you? Great, how are you? Doing fine.
I know.
Stand down.
See what this.
Good to see you. How things going? I'm glad you came.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You want to say it? I think we're trying to get everybody cleared out. Yeah, we were just joking. Apparently Becker knows how to clean a room.
Yeah. Plenty of seats down front.
Yeah, place.
Sure. Chief, before we get going, you in the back, can you come down a little bit? Slowly up here. Come on, down.
Like in school. Down front. Suddenly, there are plenty of seats down
You should
front.
say that. I think that's hilarious.
Was it something we said? Everybody left.
We're not.
Okay. They're not. Okay.
All right.
No worries. That's great.
All right. Chief, you want to keep us rolling? Sure.
Commissioner, I'll get right into our agenda. First on the agenda, we have the budget report. As you all know, that we had a surplus of about $3.5 million that was returned from last year's budget. Most of that was missed salaries that we didn't have. At the next board meeting, we will have the first quarter expenditures for 2022. It'll be reported to you. Along those same lines, Budget Policy Coordinator, Mr. Christopher Howard, has requested a mid-year budget review that will be presented to the county council to let them know just where we are with the 2022 expenditures up to this point. And there'll be a report made to the county council.
And when is that?
They have not set a date for it yet. He'll meet with each division head at some date. He'll give that date and we'll meet with him to discuss whatever it is that we need to discuss in reference to 2022 budget, obviously in preparation for the 2023 budget. Okay. Next, Lieutenant Shellman, Teneo, crime stats.
Thank you, Chief. Members of the board. Do we know how to, nope, there we go. Just a real quick update on Teneo. Does everybody have the pie chart side of their packet? Okay. Just to let you know that since the last meeting, we have completed two further tasks. One was, as you well know, you guys voted on the social media policy last meeting. That sufficed one of Teneo's recommendations. And then the other one, we have created a PIO liaison inside of every precinct to satisfy another recommendation. Since the last meeting, there are about 8 others that have moved to close to about 75%. So hopefully next month we will have a few more.
Frequency, about when do you think this first batch and have them at a point?
The first batch of
90X of the.
So I would say, so if looking at this, there's only been 5 that have not been started. There's another 36 that are currently in progress. Honestly, I'd have to go through each and every one to see exact timelines and speak to those certain divisions. Obviously, I have the updated sheet that just gives me little bullet points on it. But next month, I'll definitely have an answer on, how close we are on several of these. Yeah.
Approximation on 36, the 5 we've made the.
You got it. All right, and then moving into crime stats. Obviously, these were numbers through March 31st. On our notable events, as you can see, the majority of things continue to trend down. Most notably, vehicle pursuits are down 50% from last year through March. Again, we have added starting this year that box on failure to yields, 477 through 3 months. The 239 in parentheses there is just the number in March, so that obviously quick math shows me that 238 occurred in January and February, and we had, more than that in 1 month. So this continues to be a trend that we see on the uptick. The failure to yield map that my team puts together, just a heat map showing per precinct. And as you look at this, about 51% of failure to yields occur in either the 1st or 8th precincts, North County or Jennings. Moving on to Division of Patrol data for March of 22. Obviously, this is a lot of information, just some notes on what the 1st precinct and Jennings generate just alone by themselves compared to the other precincts. About 44% of the radio calls are generated from North County or Jennings. 41% of all reports filed in the Division of Patrol come from those 2 precincts, and about 50% of all arrests from those 2 precincts, including 58% of the summons and lieu issued. 61% of all guns seized in March came from the North County precinct as well. We look at the crime data, crimes against persons. Yep.
Can we just go back one more? Okay. I haven't seen this yet, and I think in addition to which precinct these failure yields are coming from, the time of day is also interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely is. And again, I've told you all this, anything that you want to see as far as breakdowns of, just let us know and we can have that for you prepared next month.
Could you send these to us?
Of course I will.
Thank you.
Yes,
We can have some time.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Sorry to disrupt.
Oh, nope, not disrupting anything. So again, when we go to the crimes against persons data, as you can see, the majority of, trying to get it on my screen here, the crimes against persons across the board are down. Homicides, obviously, the 24 to 14 is those investigated by our crimes against persons. And I know that the aggravated assaults with firearms down 22%, and aggravated assaults with other dangerous weapons down 30% is obviously a good thing for the department. Here's that homicides by the numbers. The breakdown of, as you can see, the comparison from 2021 to 24 to 14. 10 of those in the St. Louis County patrol areas, so either unincorporated or our contract municipalities, and then the municipal homicides would be 4. When we look at crimes against property, everything down, again, still trending that way, with the exception of motor vehicle thefts, which is up slightly, almost 8%.
And you also mentioned about the trend for March when we got to earlier information.
Yep.
Do you have a feel for how the numbers are trending while they're down through?
So, yep, I know what you're saying. So down overall, but the gap's closing. So, for instance, if we look at crimes against persons, so whereas I just pointed out the aggravated assault with firearms is down 22%, last month that overall number was about 28%. So it's starting to come back to the mean. You'll see here in just a second when I pull up the calls for service, you'll see that those are also on the rise as well. And then crimes against society. The major note here, the DWIs that the department has written up 58% from the previous year. And here's what I was talking about with the calls for service. So through the first 2 months of the year, we take that moving average, and we had always been below. But as you can see now in March of 22, every single precinct is north of their moving average. So again, those calls for service coming back, which then again lowers some of these numbers, although I think our self-initiated numbers, understanding that we've been responding to more directed calls, our self-initiated numbers continue to be really good.
So today aside, I know starting in March, the weather starts to get warmer, and when weather is warmer, people are out more. If you compare our upward trend for 2022 to 21 and 20 and 19 and 18, is it on point? Or
Absolutely. So every year that I look at these, and I went back through the last 2 years at least, I actually took a little bit of 19 into account because 2020 was such an outlier. And every March it starts the uptick, and then we're going to go through, it's going to continue usually to rise. And then once we hit August, it's going to start creasing back down. And then you get to December, it starts to rise again just because of the holiday.
So are we increasing by the same?
Yes, same rate. Nothing alarming at this point.
But for the fact that we just don't like.
Absolutely, yes. But again, looking at the overall numbers is a good thing as far as the crimes against persons, crimes against property, seeing that those are down, obviously is a key indicator. But the calls for service are going to continue to rise. Yep.
Lieutenant, can I ask a question on
Of course.
To what do you attribute the rise in the DWIs? That more patrols out?
Yeah, absolutely. The majority of those would be generated by our highway safety unit. And I can't speak for them on how many, type of saturation patrols or DWI enforcement types of. It could be more than last year at the time. Oh, so top calls. Here we go. Obviously, as you can see, sick cases are always going to lead the way. Phone calls, things of that nature. Burglar alarms would be close to 1,000 as well in March. Any questions on any of those? And then finally, to wrap up our crime data is the TSR numbers, the traffic stop numbers from March. Again, almost the same as the previous 2 months as far as percentages in each precinct. So nothing over 2% one way or the other from any precinct, up or down. And before if you guys, and I know that as you look at this, if you have any questions, but before I step aside, the chief wanted me to mention that all three phases of our department, law enforcement, the academy, and our communications center were reaccredited by CALIA recently, just March, I believe, the 16th, so which is a major deal for our department. Any further questions? All right. Thank you.
Being a CLIA accreditation assessor, I've always tell the accreditation managers, once you've been reaccredited, you probably take about a week off, relax, and start preparing for the next 4 years. So Brian and his crew has about a week to relax before they can start preparing for the next one. Next on the agenda, Carl Becker with Human Resources.
Good morning. So just a quick note on the staffing report. We have 969 authorized. We have 895 actual commission. That's a vacancy of 74 commissioned officers. Class 204 that started at the academy January 3rd has 19 county officers, 26 total. There's 1 open enrollment and 6 municipal officers there. They're going to graduate June 16th. At Merritt's, we moved the time up to 6 p.m. just to get started a little earlier. And of course, you'll get further notification as the time gets closer. And then Class 205 starts next Monday, and we have 6 county officers. As we've discussed previously, there's 3 security officers that have requested transfers and are being promoted then going into the academy. So just a reminder to the public that oftentimes the security officer position is a stepping stone to being a commissioned officer. There's going to be in that Class 205, 8 municipal officers, and there's 4 open enrollment right now. And of course, Class 206 starts June 27th. With the professional staff, we have 375 authorized, and there's 336 professional staff employees. The current vacancies are 39, and the union has we wrapped up union negotiations with professional staff and the lab bargaining units. The unions have ratified those contracts, so they'll be moving on in legislation here very soon. The Dispatch Academy started April 11th, and we have 3 dispatchers in that class, and there's another PSD class starting June 13th that we're working to fill to the capacity of about 12 or 13 recruits there. We have 0 employees out with COVID, and that's pretty much been the norm the past couple months. Once in a while, we'll get 1 positive. I don't think we've hit more than 2 out at any one time, but the average is very low, so that's good news. Right now we have, I know I've said this before, I kind of want to remind the public, we have 9 out on military separation. The department fully supports reservists. Sergeant Garcia just got back from Guantanamo Bay after a year deployment, and we recently gave a conditional offer to a Marine Corps reservist. So that's an excellent source to fill our commission roles and security roles, and just wanted to remind the public that we fully support reservists. And the applications for February of 22, we had 37 police officer and police recruit applications. We currently have 10 in backgrounds. And in the month of February, there were 8 NBQs and 15 voluntary withdrawals. With respect to recruiting, the recruiters are very busy. They're targeting heavily criminal justice majors at various universities, and now have implemented these tours for groups. For example, Greenville University was here last week and took a tour of headquarters and the EOC also, just to give them some familiarity, let them see our facilities and how impressive they are. And we are in talks with various universities to increase the tuition enrollment programs that we currently have with Maryville and Lindenwood. And as you know, and another reminder to our employees, that the referral for experienced employees has gone up from $600 to $1,000, and for inexperienced from $400 to $800. So that's a very nice incentive. And we're working on other initiatives also that you're aware of, and hoping to keep moving forward and filling these academy classes and getting in as many lateral as we can. Yes, ma'am.
Numbers for the committee seemed how it was like.
I think it was 63 last month. So yeah, it's I don't have the resignations from the month of February, but it actually, as of this time last year, we're a little bit down on the average. It tends to fluctuate. You normally get your retirements early in the year. So we've only had 8 retirements so far this year. I think at this time last year, we had about 15. So that's kind of slowed a little bit.
So the retirements are included in 13?
Yeah. And losing employees, yeah. Terminations of employment, however they may be, resignations, retirements, that kind of thing. So that's included in the number of lost employees. Anything else? Chief, if I may introduce Lieutenant Roach. So Lieutenant Roach is going to be speaking to you about the mentorship program. I think you all are aware, again, I want to remind the public of what a driving force Lieutenant Roach has been over the past 10, 11 years with respect to wellness. He started it all on his own initiative when he was a sergeant and has been pushing and is well-versed in wellness and all the aspects of helping out, working on retention, the well-being, the emotional well-being of our employees. And this mentorship program is just another step toward it and another thing that he's spearheaded. So, Lieutenant Roach.
Good morning. I was asked to speak today briefly on the mentorship program, first ever in our history. So just give you a quick rundown of it and certainly welcome any questions now or later. Our primary goal of our mentorship program is retention. We want to do that by creating some career pathing, some career development. And I should back up. The mentorship program was started by me and Michelle Ryan. Miss Michelle Ryan is the Director of Emergency Management. We have two sides of the house. We have professional staff side and we have law enforcement side or commissioned side. Michelle is coordinating and representing the pro staff. I'm representing and coordinating the law enforcement. So that's kind of the two sides of our house. A mentorship program obviously is going to run a little differently for each group. But again, we want to create career pathing. Basically, we want people to walk in the door and we want to help them get to where they want to be and remind them that there are places to go. A great example is when I first got hired by the department, people always ask me, and this is 25 years ago, people ask me, well, why did you pick St. Louis County? Why not Bridgeton? Why not Richmond Heights? Right? Not any Creve Coeur, any of the higher paid departments. And my answer was always the same. I want to go places. I wanted some mobility. If I go to those departments, I'm in a silo. I'd like to come here where I've got choices and I can move around. And that has proven to be the case, especially for me. And I see that going with several other officers and several other employees of our department. So again, we want to encourage career development, career pathing, provide guidance and training, education. We just want to let the employees know that they're valued and let them know how we can help get them there, be a resource there. I'll explain how we do that here in a second. And then finally, we definitely want to boost engagement. We want them to be engaged in their career. We want them to realize that this is the place to be. And there are places to go, upward or lateral, whatever it might be. So kind of how we got here, two things happened. One, in January of 21, I started the position as your wellness unit commander and have gone to a couple conferences. And I met my colleagues in the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department in January of 21 at a conference. And they're an agency just a little bit bigger than we are by a few hundred. So a lot of similarities. I got to talking about a peer support program, which was my project at the time. And he mentioned a mentorship program and how their retention was skyrocketing and how all the people that they were putting in the academy, they were hardly losing anybody from academy classes, and it was helping. So with that, then we went to a Teneo retreat in August, and I believe Michelle, Ms. Schwerin and Mr. Banks, you guys were there to open it. That was the retreat. And at that retreat, it came out when we were in our breakout groups that what was something that we want to see? What was a significant change we wanted to see in our department? And I believe it was the Chiefs group, but we decided that mentorship program is definitely something that we want. And we were surprised to see that generationally, the newer generations, they want this type of attention. They want this type of help, this type of guidance. So it was just kind of a perfect fit. Lights came together, and we started to basically put this together, stole some best practices, borrowed some best practices from several agencies as far as Wheaton, Colorado, as far south as Orlando, and definitely my partners in Nashville. Kind of put together some best practices and came up with an idea of how we wanted to basically run this. I won't get into the weeds of actually timelines of timing and how that works, but I'll definitely take any questions on that. Just kind of as an update, we formed a council. Michelle Ryan and I have formed a mentorship council made up of 6 employees from the department, 3 from the pro staff side, 3 from the law enforcement side. This council together is going to be making making the major decisions on how we move forward with mentorship, vetting, interviews, things like applications, things like that. We have vetted some training. I was led on to a good trainer, and I have actually gone and saw him train. And we've settled on who we'd like to provide this training. And then what will happen eventually is we'll do our own training down the road. We can't rely on this to pay this trainer every single time. And that's what other agencies do. If you tried to look for law enforcement mentorship training right now, you're not going to find any. It really doesn't exist. What happens is agencies kind of get trained up and they learn how their culture works, and then they go out, they create a training program and move forward. So then they start doing, as people need to be added to the mentorship roles, they do internal training. Saves on costs significantly. We have our training paid. We have our first training session is going to be probably in June, and we have one with an option paid by the St. Louis Police Foundation. They've offered to pay our trainer for the first time. And we're looking at probably having about 30 mentors to start. And we're probably going to do that training at Centene University. They've already offered us their facility for free. So Michelle and I have received, Michelle put out a solicitation for applications, mentors for the pro staff side. You might have seen my email about a week or so after hers. Combined, we're looking at just shy of 100 people are interested in being a mentor. I have to say it was higher than I expected. About 30 for Michelle on the pro staff side and about 70 for me on the law enforcement side, and the numbers just keep climbing. I got another interested person today. As I present a block of in-service for the officers and sergeants right now, and I will do that through September, I have a quick infomercial about why I need mentors and peers, and I always get one or two. So I expect that number to go up for sure. So right now we're at where we're at in the process is we're sorting applications. We're sorting those 100 applications, which thanks to Lieutenant Shellman's group, his group has created an electronic form, help make it easier. Next, we're looking for a letter of referral from everybody that is interested, and then we're going to do a brief interview, and then we're going to be ready to roll for some training. I would say the last thing I guess I would say about it before I ask for any questions is what the goal is. One of the other major goals of this program is we want to reduce the number of exit interviews. In an exit interview, I don't want to ever hear say, I wish the department would have invested more in me. This makes the case, I think, that we want to help you get there. All of those promotions that were behind me today, every one of them, if you ask all of them, did you have a mentor? What did it take for you to get from where you're at to being a captain or a lieutenant or sergeant today? And I guarantee you, there's an informal mentor somewhere in their past. And I've got informal mentors in my past. I've got good ones and bad ones. I've learned from people that I've trained, and I learned from the people that trained me. But just having that resource, just having that extra person to help you, make some decisions, or that career pathing that we alluded to, that's exactly what we're trying to get. So like I said, I just want to reduce that number of exit interviews that we have, and I don't want to ever hear it said that we didn't care. I think this is going to be a value added for sure to our employees, and that is the goal here. So, yes, ma'am.
So you said you serve the potential trainer.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you talk a little bit about how long?
Yes. So he offers an 8-hour. He offers days long, but of course that's not going to work well for us. So he has an 8-hour course that he offers, and I went and saw him present a portion of that at a healthcare convention at the casino, I think one of the St. Charles Casino, and got to sit in his class, and he actually let me participate in the training. But basically he addresses the mentor and what their roles are, and the heavy burden that they have and the responsibility that they're going to take on in order to help people, because they're not just helping somebody get through take a course or take a class, or this is what you should be when you grow up. It's maybe that person needs help personally and otherwise, but especially within their career. So he talks about what it's like to be a mentor. He talks about expectations. What is it like to be to mentee? What do we want to get from each other? He also, and I thought this was interesting, he opens the door to remind mentors that you can learn from your mentees as well. There's definitely should be a give and take. This isn't field training. We have field trainers. This isn't field training. This is beyond that. We want people to be onboarded and jump right in and make sure all the boxes are checked with what they need to start off on the right foot and have a successful career. But he teaches, he does a lot of role plays because there's a lot of interpersonal communication, a lot of active listening, a lot of things like that, just human interaction. Because the good thing about mentorship is it's not just a police thing or a corporate thing, it's a life thing, really. So he reminds us of that. I think it's a unique training because he comes from he's a corporate trainer. He's got a list a mile long of places that he's trained, but on that list is also St. Louis City Police Department. He has also helped them with a mentorship program, albeit it was years ago, but I think some of the lessons were definitely didn't miss the mark. That was my major concern with him. And we've had several conversations that I need this to translate to being law enforcement in our industry with me and Michelle, with professional staff as well. So that was the goal of that training. He assured me, and I saw that I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm going to jump in.
Yes, ma'am.
Peer-to-peer support and mentor program. Is the mentor program going to supplant peer-to-peer support?
No, ma'am. We're going to have a peer support team. We have a peer support team. We've revised our training, and we're ramping back up here in May and June. No, a peer is different from a mentor. A mentor is more developmental, more get you there, more let's talk about things. Now, there's going to be a portion, obviously, of being a peer, because when your mentee comes to you and says, I'm having a problem at home, well, now we need you to be that, engage that compassionate side of being a human and having that conversation. And that's something that a peer does on a normal basis. So to answer your question, no, it does not. But good peers are good mentors, and mentors are typically good peers because of that interaction, because of that interpersonal communication, because of that active listening, because of the investment that they're making into that person. So we don't want that to be the case. I will have a peer support team that has different roles and responsibilities, and a mentorship program that has different roles and responsibilities. But obviously, I think we're going to have some crossover, which is great. That will be good.
Sure. So mentorship focuses professional development.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
With respect to the training, I know you said that you're developing internal training, or you will over time.
Yes.
To the extent that this training is valuable and this trainer is valuable, and we want to do another session, if you need resources, I would encourage you to come to the board and let us help you figure out how to get that done as well.
Definitely. I think if that would be the ideal situation. But having been around for so many years and starting different programs, I know at some point, unfortunately, the budget kicks in. So no, I think thank you for that offer, and I will definitely take you up on that. I think he offered to do 20 to 30 at a time. And if the numbers keep climbing like they are, we might have enough to seat another class and another class and another class. If we get to that point where, okay, we need to make a decision on if we're going to do our own, or if I should ask you for a spot in the budget, I will definitely do that. I think he's going to be fantastic. So I'm hoping that's the case.
My last question.
Yes, ma'am. Fire away.
You mentioned being a mentor is a big responsibility, which I wholeheartedly agree. Have we thought about the support we're going to provide the mentors as they're supporting the mentees?
Absolutely. And that's a topic that he brings up in his class too. And on the peer support side, we call it compassion fatigue, where constantly being there it can be exhausting at some point. Same with the mentor. So what we've done is Michelle and I have put into place kind of a system where you're not going to be a mentor all the time forever, because ideally after that initial formal mentorship starts or ends, it's informal from there. So we don't want people to have, I'm a mentor and I've got 5 mentees. That creates some serious problems. So we're shooting for a 1-to-1 ratio, obviously, and we don't want those mentors to be exhausted, and we want them to concentrate on themselves as well. Mentors have mentors too. So we want them to kind of, take a look at themselves also and remind themselves of where they're at. But I think there's an argument to be made. You learn more when you learn more about yourself when you're teaching it to others as well. I think there's a great value to that, and I think that there's an opportunity here for that as well, especially when the mentors are being mentored. So
you just mentioned the end of the formal program. How long are you anticipating each mentorship to be in a structured?
Yes. So for the law enforcement side, you get a mentor day 1, week 1 of the police academy. And that formal mentorship relationship ends the day they graduate the police academy. Now, the informal relationship, where there is great value in that's long-term, that things like, you going through your career, that informal relationship is what we hope takes over from there. We create that where they're a lifeline for each other, they're a resource for each other. And your classic, I was a traffic officer for 10 years, 5 as a supervisor. My mentee wants to be a traffic guy. Well, I got all the information you need. Or if I was never in traffic, I know somebody in traffic because I got so many years of experience. So it's that informal relationship after that we see extreme amount of value in. On the pro staff side, we're looking at 1 year. The day you walk in the door or for orientation, you are a formal mentor for 1 year. And it's to onboard you. It's to get you thinking about all the things that you need to think about in order to get started. And then it's to help that career development. Michelle is a poster child for what it's like to walk in the door as one thing and go around and learn about the department. Now she's the director of emergency management. I would love every dispatcher, every care officer, every recommend person to realize that and know that there is potential here. You're not stuck at a desk in some little municipality for the rest of your career. We want people to know that's out there and remind them more actually that that's out there. Michelle has done a great job of that. We've all been doing informal mentoring probably for years, but now it's time we put some great training behind it and we provide some help behind it and make it something more than it is right now. I think this is the perfect time for that.
Nothing.
Couple of comments, and maybe I'll lead with the question. So we have approximately 100 people on the pipeline for mentors. Do we have, about how many? Do we anticipate how many people we think are going to raise their hand to be mentees over time?
Everybody, because when you walk in the door, you're going to get a mentor. If that mentor-mentee relationship ends after the formal period, then so be it. But I have a feeling that if that happens, especially in this industry, that it's not going to end. I have a feeling it's going to be just like I could probably talk to every officer behind me and say, did you ever talk to your field training officer after you got off of field training? I guarantee the answer was yes. Similar to being a mentor and mentee, I think you're always going to have that lifeline. You're always going to have that resource. But no, sir, to answer your question, when you walk in the door, every new employee is going to get a mentor.
My suspicion is that you're going to have demand for 5 or 6 years, right? They've gone through the emotional, hey, I've been whatever I've been for 2 or 3 years, and now I'm at a point where I'm looking to make some life decisions, whether it's career. I suspect that your demand is going to expand exponentially, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Sounds like you two are preparing. Just a couple of comments. Thank you both for your leadership. I just think it's remarkable. We know you're going to learn to crawl and then to walk and then to run with it, and you'll adapt it as necessary. It takes leadership to get it off the ground, and appreciate both of you assuming that responsibility.
Couldn't do it without Michelle being on the pro staff side, definitely.
So thank you.
Do you?
No.
Second, I'd love to focus on training of the quality of your programs, only going to improve the quality of the mentors. So
Absolutely.
investing in them up front is just great. Michelle said a couple and Thomasina hit one. Half of the board, thank you for your leadership.
Okay, I'm always available for questions or concerns. Yes, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
That's great. Needed.
Some of the things that Lieutenant Roach has talked about, the mentorship, are again some of the things that came out of the Teneo retreat. I mentioned 4 initiatives that I talked about earlier, and right now they're moving along. This is one of them with the professional staff. And at the academy, we talked about bringing mentors in for our recruits coming in there. This is just tying over to that. That's all I have for the chief's report.
Thanks, sir. Thanks. Sure. All right, well, let's move into approval of the board minutes from our March 9 meeting.
I move we approve these minutes.
Thank you. Was Thomasina? I'm sorry, I heard a little zip in the background. Thomasina is seconded. Further conversation on the minutes. Any corrections needed at this point?
I didn't see any.
Very good. All in favor of approving the minutes from our March 9 board meeting?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Any letters or communication? Nope. Very good. Old business. We have one topic for old business. That is our board priorities. We've talked about them. I think we teed them up 2 meetings ago and then had a bit of a conversation last meeting. We've had some additional recommendations made to the board through between each other. We'd love to have a conversation around how we bring these to closure. Again, at least today, knowing that we're going to evolve these and we're going to, by design, periodically update those. We really have 2 that have, maybe 3 that have had suggested changes. The first one, you know what? Ask each of you to talk about it again, if you wouldn't mind, just what you're recommending and why.
Sure. I recommended with respect to the first of our, I think it's now 5 bullet points, is that we talk about opportunities for improvement within the department generally. And there are there's a lot that the department's doing very, very well and fantastic, and I want us to celebrate that and support it. And I also want us to address areas for improvement. And so my suggestion was to have 3 subtopics that we think about this year. One is assuring that the department fosters a culture valuing diversity and demanding inclusion. That was a terrible misread on my part. Excuse me. Developing our leaders, officers, and professional staff as future leaders of the community and the department, and valuing community engagement and increasing communication with our partners and constituents. Those are, of course, are not limiting, but are 3 priorities that will at least think about and help us guide our activities for the rest of the year.
Any questions on any further conversation needed there? Understand what's been proposed? All right, are we, all right, we'll move forward then with the second bullet. Second bullet had an edit that maybe it's a formatting, but the one about continued integrated crime prevention.
Yes, so that is mine as well. And the priority is to continue to expand integrative crime prevention, criminal justice, and public safety across the entire St. Louis community. And there's a sub-bullet there that says our priority includes engaging and influencing key community stakeholders in shared public safety. So a reminder to us that we as the board are responsible to bring together or be part of bringing together the entire St. Louis community with respect to our goals.
Thank you. Any further conversation there? Questions? Commissioner Hassler, would you talk about the third change, recommended change?
Do you want me to read it for you? No, I can see part of it. So it was just a matter of a change in wording, and so see that I was just looking at the, anyway, it says support and collaborate with the chief and the department in our role as civilian oversight. I thought that would be a clearer way to express what we were looking for in our relationship with the chief and the.
Questions for that one? A bit of a question on that one. The word support and collaborate don't align for me with the word oversight.
Can you talk to me about that a little?
Yeah, so oversight says just that, right? You provide oversight and guidance as opposed to just support and collaborate. So it seems like that those minimize our role as a committee that's supposed to provide oversight.
So I think that verbs that expand what civilian oversight is. It's not excluding the role of oversight, but it's also in that role that we are in collaboration and supporting the department and the team. So for me, it felt like it almost felt like snapping a whip, the way it was worded previously. And I thought that our position would be a lot clearer, that yes, we have oversight. That is our role that's defined already in the charter. But as we look at our own priorities for this year, what does that look like? It looked like, yes, as we oversee what's going on, that we support and collaborate with the department and the team.
My concern still rests. Supporting and collaborating doesn't seem consistent with the word oversight. Those are, oversight says you are providing direction or you're responding to issues that are having, maybe even have disagreement at times, right? That's part of oversight. Supporting and collaborating seem inconsistent with that. If that's all it is, if there's more to supporting, collaborating, and
So what do you see when you see supporting and collaborating?
I'm sorry, I thought I just described them, so I'll try it again. Oversight says you're providing direction, you're having those uncomfortable situations or discussions at time, you are providing the guidance that's needed when it's needed there, you're delving into issues that need to be delved into, right? The word oversight being just that, right? You're overseeing what's going on. If the words are just supporting and collaborating, that doesn't seem consistent with the word oversight, which is not just here, right? Those are the words that are in the charter. And so I'm just trying to clarify supporting and collaborating as one of some of the hows, but not the only hows in how we provide oversight.
So I think with oversight includes problem solving.
It does.
Yeah, and so when problem solving, I think it takes both sides of the table.
Yeah, that's the how. These are
that's
usually the whats, right?
That's the support piece.
Priorities are usually what's, not hows.
Yeah, but I'm still saying that the support and collaboration to solve a problem, even with hard conversation, whatever might come up. I just don't see, I think that the prior wording for me was too harsh.
And that's fine. I'm just looking for the right words now.
May I propose a compromise?
Sure.
What if we add a word and say either lead, support, and collaborate with the chief in the department, or manage, support, and collaborate with the chief and department? Lead, support, and collaborate, or manage, support, and collaborate?
I like lead. I can deal with that. Lead, support, and collaborate.
Fine.
I think you manage situations. I don't think you manage people. And that was what bothered me.
Again, perhaps for a personal conversation someday, but I just fundamentally disagree with that. Our job as leaders are to mentor, to do things, but we'll talk about that later. I don't think you just manage situations. I think you absolutely have to manage and lead people, different backgrounds. So fortunately, we're willing to listen to each other. It's good.
So where are we with that? The lead?
So let's talk about them in total. Are you all good with lead, support, and collaborate?
I am.
I can live with it.
Okay, you can live with it. I think that's probably where I am too.
Yeah.
It gets us to the appropriate compromise in order to move forward. All right, so any other conversation on any other bullet points now that we've had another chance to look at them and have a conversation? Okay. Assuming that we're all then in agreement with the six different board priorities, may we have a motion to accept the 6 priorities as amended and as discussed?
I move that we amended.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Thank you. And Thomasina, thanks for the conversation.
You're welcome.
Any other old business? All right, new business. We have some contracts, as we usually do. We have 14 total contracts. We have 2 that are police service agreements. We have 12 that are professional service agreements. We're going to break these into 3 different groups. We'll do the 2 police service agreements together, and then we'll generally split up. I think it's 7 and 5 based on the way the contracts kind of just play out for 3 votes, as opposed to doing them all 14 at one. Is that good?
Yes.
Works for me.
Very good. First 2, police service agreement with the city of Pasadena Hills.
Yay.
Yeah, thank you. As I think we've already contracted with, so it's for full police services for a period of May 1, 2022 through June 30, 2023, with an annual charge of $130,029.94. We have a police service agreement with the city of Bridgeton, a contract for coordinated communications and computer assisted report entry, which is our care service, between the city of Bridgeton and St. Louis County. Services are for a period of June 1, 2022 to December 31, 2025. The annual charge is $154,958.43.
I move we approve these contracts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Moving to the professional services agreements. I do have a question before we get into this one. It's on the very first one with Jefferson County. The dates say it runs from June 1, 2021 to May 31, 2022. So we're approving a contract that has already been in existence for 10 months.
It's a grant, and so sometimes when there is a change throughout the grant or the detective changes, then they have to resubmit.
So this is a resubmittal, again, for the final 2 months of the grant. All right. Thank you for the explanation. That's a new contract with the City of Jefferson County Sheriff's Department for the fiscal year 2022 State Cyber Crime Grant administered by the Missouri Department of Public Safety. It includes Cybercrime Task Force, which employs 1 detective from Jefferson County. The contract is for $63,706, which covers the salary. And as we said, it runs from June 1, 2021 through May 31, 2022. The second is a professional services agreement with Patrick E. Horney. Forgive me. It is for the CMPA, the County and Municipal Police Academy, for an instructor to teach the curriculum development on May 16, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $200. We have a professional service agreement for public grants and training initiatives. It is a new contract with the CMPA for an instructor to teach crime 1, 2, 3, interviewing and interrogation on May 9, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $3,000. We have a professional services agreement with Randy Means and Associates, LLC. It is a new contract with the CMPA for an instructor to teach a program, liability prevention and risk management for field officers and their supervisors on November 16th and 17th, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $5,000. A professional services agreement with Randy Means and Associates, LLC. It is a new contract with the CMPA for managing police ethics for officers and supervisors on September 19th and 20th, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $5,000. A professional service agreement with Randy Means and Associates, LLC. It is also a new contract with the CMPA, minimizing bias and perceptions of bias for officers and their supervisors for September 21, 22 on September 21st and 22nd, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $5,000, and a professional service agreement, again, with Randy Means and Associates, LLC, a new contract with CMPA, impact communication skills for officers and their supervisors on November 14th and 15th, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $5,000. May we have a motion to approve those contracts?
I move that these contracts be approved.
Thank you, Thomasina.
Second.
Thank you, Richard. All in favor of approving those contracts?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. And the last set of contracts, a professional service agreement with IXII Group, Inc. It is a new contract with the CMPA for an instructor communication training officer on June 6th, 7th, and 8th, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $6,000. A professional service agreement with 6 Layer Concepts Consulting, LLC, a new contract with CMPA for human terrain mapping and behavior pattern recognition workshop on July 22nd and 23rd, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $9,887.50. A professional service agreement with 6 Layer Concepts and Consulting, LLC, a new contract with CMPA, human terrain mapping and behavior pattern recognition workshop on December 14th and 15th, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $9,887.50. A professional service agreement with Van Meter and Associates Incorporated, a new contract with CMPA for applied leadership principles on October 17th, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $2,900. And lastly, a professional service agreement with Van Meter and Associates, Inc., a new contract with CMPA for first line supervision on September 28th, 2022 at a cost not to exceed $2,900.
I move we approve these contracts.
Thank you.
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you. Those have all been approved. We have, next on the agenda was a request to execute some professional services agreements for hearing officer services. We're going to hold those until after our closed session. And then lastly then, for this section on new business, we have a recommendation to approve the revised bylaws by the CMPA Board of Managers. Commissioner Schwerin, do you mind walking us through the changes and the intent behind the changes?
Sure. So the Board of Managers oversees and governs the academy, and it has its own set of bylaws. I worked last fall with the Board of Managers to make revisions to the bylaws for two purposes. One, to reflect changes to some of the ways that they operate. The way the bylaws were drafted, they were outdated. And second, to improve some efficiencies with the way that the board operates and makes decisions. In the packet, there is a clean copy and a red line copy. The Board of Managers has reviewed the proposed bylaws and agrees that it reflects the way that they would like to be operating and the most efficient way to operate and make good decisions for the academy. So I will move that we approve these revised bylaws for the Board of Managers.
I would second her motion to approve.
Thank you. May I, a bit of conversation?
Mhm.
So not so much the names of the who, but what are the roles of the people who are on the Academy Board of Managers? They're chiefs of other,
There's one of us, Chief Gregory, a few municipal chiefs, and then there's one more from the county, right? Okay. Yeah, but there are municipal chiefs, and then there's also our department participates. Yes, 3 or 4, right? Yes.
point of asking the question was for those who might be watching, I wanted them to understand who the Board of Police Commissioners are. That's okay. I should have been more explicit.
The Board of Managers.
Sorry, Board of
Okay,
Managers.
so big picture, it's comprised of municipal chiefs and our department, and the Board of Managers comes together and discusses the academy, its direction, issues that are going on with the academy, how to make it most efficient and effective for the community, because the academy trains both county and municipal recruits.
Thank you. Should have asked my question better. My apologies.
That's okay. I didn't understand it.
Yeah, it's because it wasn't well phrased, so thank you. All right, so any other conversation? All in favor of the approval to modify the bylaws based on the Board of Managers recommendation, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations. Anything from the public?
Did not receive anything via email. Here in the room.
Anything from those of you in the audience? Very good. Thank you. We will now hold a motion to go to a closed meeting. The Board of Police Commissioners may vote to go into closed meeting for legal advice and review of claims and lawsuits involving the police department, section 610.0211 RSMO and sections 114.0201 SLCRO, discussion of employee and personnel matters, section 610.0213 and 13 RSMO and sections 114.0203 and 13 SLCRO, an update on union negotiations, section 610.0219 RSMO and section 114.0209 SLCRO, and discussions of requests for proposals, section 610.0212 and section 114.020112. May we have a roll call vote to move into?
First, I'll make a motion.
Yes, please. Sorry about that. Thank you.
I'll second her motion to go into closed session. I think you made a motion to go into closed session.
I did.
Thank you. Amy, roll call vote, please. Yes.
Commissioner Banks?
Yes.
Commissioner Hassler?
Yes.
And Commissioner Schwerin?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we are now in closed session. That vote was unanimous to return to open session. We have one more topic on the, one more formal topic on the agenda today, and that is a request to execute professional services agreements.
Yes, we
I'm
had.
sorry,
roll
we
call
did.
vote.
All right, do I have to identify? Ashworth said yes. Banks said yes. Hassler said yes. Schwerin said yes. Sorry. That unanimous response would have been, my bad. We'll continue to work on it. We have 4 professional service agreements for hearing officers. They would like to take a motion to approve the request to execute professional service agreements for hearing officers, for hearing services, hearing officer services with, I need to announce the 4 organizations: ABG Law Office LLC, Banks Law LLC, Lashley and Bear PC, and Watson Wesley Coleman LC. Those would be the 4 professional service agreements for hearing officer services. May we have a motion?
Accept the hearing officer services recommendations.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
You had a proxy vote?
Yes. Proxy. I will vote yes for him as well.
Very good. Okay. Anything else?
Move that we adjourn.
Second the motion.
Roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Ashworth?
Yes.
Commissioner Banks? Commissioner Hassler?
Yes.
And Commissioner Schwerin?
Yes.
We are adjourned. By the way, our next meeting is on 5/11. Forgot to move that into May 11th will be our next meeting.